Am I the asshole for being brutally honest about my financial stability? So I'm 26, I have no student debt, and I own a condo outright. My coworkers and office are very anti-young people and constantly rag on those millennials and their financial irresponsibility. I'm one of 4 people under 30 in the office, and my coworkers are usually shocked by my age. They know I have no college debt because I mentioned it once, and I mentioned in passing that I had bought a condo. On the last happy hour Zoom meeting, they started in on their talk. I tried to gently defend my generation only to have them say that I shouldn't because unlike them, I'm actually responsible, and I prove that millennial actually could do it if they really tried. Here's the thing. My aunt died when I was 8, and she basically left enough money and time for my parents to invest for a college fund. I have my condo because my grandmother died this year, I was on the lease, and I had enough to pay off the $20,000 left on the mortgage. Basically put, my success is, to be blunt, people dying at a convenient time. I was sick of them, so I told them that my advantages were literally inheritance and that I'm not better than my cohort, just luckier. They were all shocked that I would be so cavalier and blunt, and now people are irritated. Am I the asshole?
Not the asshole. Success is 99% inheritance, either direct money or networking through family.
Hit M with the OK Boomer.
Not the asshole, but I am not sure why you even engaged with them at all on this. I'd be ignoring it, or hey, if you want to fight back, there is plenty wrong with their generation. Or you can say, you can keep shitting on my generation, but I'll just bust out OK Boomer in response. They hate that.
Not the asshole. It's hard to be honest about inheritance in our bootstrap society, but thank you for doing so. I am so sick of people blaming other people for being poor, as if it's our own fault that Joe bullshit pay less and houses cost more these days. I know 8 people in their 20s or early 30s who own a house or condo, and 7 of those 8 either inherited money or won a settlement for major physical body harm. And all of these people work real, salaried Joe Bulls hit that make use of their technical higher education degrees. While it is true that few millennials can make money-saving decisions like buying rather than renting, it's not from irresponsibility, it's from a lack of financial assess in a country that has hoarded its wealth into currently owned properties. And thank you for using your own story to give your coworkers the anecdote they needed to hear.
Not the asshole. I'm currently on furlough and am not freaking out as much as other people, because I am privileged enough that if my unemployment were to stop, I'd have enough money to live on for 15 to 18 months. While several thousand of that was from working and saving, the vast bulk of it was a settlement from an accident. And #X200B. So literally, my financial security is because I got hit by a car. And #X200B. Also seriously, fuck them. I'm so tired of people not realizing that the economy now, or even the economy a year ago, is not the same as the economy decades ago.
Not the asshole. You should defend millennials, just as you would defend any other group that was under constant criticism. I am ashamed of older people when they look down on people your age. They really have no idea how much the world has changed, how much more expensive education, car loans, mortgages, rent are in comparison to what they used to pay. They live in their own reality, and someone does need to set them straight. Good for you.
Not the asshole. I think part of the reason older generations have gotten so out of control with their criticism is that they were taught their kids that contradicting someone is rude. It's not. Especially if they're wrong. Stop coddling them.
Not a judgment but a word of advice. You need to stop having conversations like these at work. Workplaces are notorious for gossip and cliques. When controversial topics come up at work, avoid engaging when possible, just go about your business. It is too easy to become ostracized and turn your work environment toxic.
Not the asshole. You are super privileged to have that type of intergenerational wealth. You absolutely need to acknowledge that your situation is not the average experience for most of us young folks. Make the oldies feel like the classist dicks they are.
Hit them with an OK Boomer whilst savagely eating an avocado. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole, and good for you for not letting them use you as an example for their narrative. And sorry for your losses. Closing parenthesis. Sometimes people don't want to recognize how much luck and not hard work dictate their good situation, as it challenges their worldview. The younger generation do have it quantitatively more difficult than the older gen, much less factoring in the environment, mental health issues, etc. I would even pull out some cost comparisons to show how much more college housing costs now compared to 20, 30 plus 50 years ago to prove how ridiculously costs have risen if they bring it up again, as it can literally been impossible to work enough to pay for education, but I probably am a turd to be around open mouth smile.
This is such a stupid post.
Not the asshole. But also don't sell yourself short. Yes, you were lucky getting inheritances, but it sounds like you are being responsible with what you were given. You shouldn't feel obligated to defend an entire generation. I would just try to stay out of those conversations.
Not the asshole. Thank you for telling them this. I'm fed up of being told I'm lazy because so-and-so has an apartment at my age. Yes, but so-and-so got given the down payment for it by their rich parents. Lol. Am I the asshole for calmly explaining my financial situation to people who asked? Just rename this sub. I need reassurance.
We own our house and cars because people died. I now joke that I need someone else to go since we need a new fridge soon. Well, I did before 2020. You were honest. If they don't like the truth, then they shouldn't have ruined the economy, then blamed us for it. What is that saying? If I had a nickel for every time someone called my generation lazy, I'd be able to afford a house in the economy they destroyed. Not the asshole.
I do not understand how so many older folk just cannot grasp how the prices of real estate and higher education have skyrocketed over the last 20 years or so, and how wages have been relatively stagnant over that same period. It just boggles my mind.
Not the asshole. I often have to explain to my own parents, who gave me most of these advantages in the first place, that I'm not special, just lucky. I suspect that previous generations tend to attribute their success to innate worthiness, and thus feel they are better than people who are less financially successful. When those of us who are similarly comfortable don't subscribe to that belief, it challenges their own sense of worth.
Not the asshole. The proper response to "I own my house free and clear" at 26 shouldn't be "Oh, look how responsible you are." It should be "Holy crap, how? What happened? Your coworkers are just dumb." How would you be the asshole? I mean, do we just post random anecdotes here and ask, "Am I the asshole?" at the end? Not the asshole. You are the uncomfortable balance between success and humility. People don't know how to deal with it, but that's their issue. In these messed up times, I would encourage you to maximize your monetary advantage while staying real about what gave you the advantage. My husband and I have a shit ton of student debt that we took on. We work for the military-industrial complex to pay on that debt and provide for our kids. I'm not proud of what I do. It wasn't my first choice in profession. So I won't sit here and either apologize for making $200K per year or say that I'm somehow better than people who had the same amount of student debt and didn't sell their soul. The elites and boomers want to create a narrative where hard work equals positive outcomes and everyone else is a useless whiner. Some of us get lucky, some of us sell out, and some of us suffer. Good on you for acknowledging the obvious. Most want.
What, lease? When you own a condo with a mortgage, there is no lease.
Not the asshole, and it's time to opt out of personal conversations at work.
Not the asshole. I'm now in this boat too, and it's weird. My mom died and suddenly I'm financially set for life? It's horrifying and strange. Honestly, I think boomers need to realize, the only way their millennial children or grandchildren will survive is if they die and leave us their assets. Womp. Though, to my own credit, I paid off my own student loans early. See, I have 3 jobs, one of them writing books, and I got a good book deal. Hashtag millennial generation law.
Not the asshole. They ruined the economy, you ruined their slander. I'm sure they don't appreciate your bluntness, but people who like to live in bubbles where they are always correct never do. Good for you.
Not the asshole. But can we really stop with boomer versus millennial thing? It's so old and cringy. There's shitty, irresponsible people in every generation. Neither generation is better or worse, and we're all just people trying to make it in this shitty world. Not the asshole. Boomers just love to harp on how entitled and sensitive millennials Gen Zers are. Yet they seem to be the ones who lose their minds anytime their behavior is called out.
Not the asshole. Your coworkers need to focus on their Joe bullshit and stop chit-chatting about money, etc.
Not the asshole. I understand trying to defend your position. Honestly though, you don't owe your coworkers shit. No explanation, no breakdown, no talking, nothing. You life is your own and you do not need to justify it to anybody. As they say, better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and to remove all doubt. Let the imagination of those fools run wild.
Not the asshole. Like others have said, I would go after their generation right back. Plenty to choose from.
NTA, but at the same time you saying that kinda proved them right in a way. Unfortunately now they are going to be going back to their generalizing. Edit. I am talking from the old people's POV, not mine. I personally don't care. Eventually one day the younger gen will be the older one, if we don't kill ourselves. Not the asshole. You're just luckier than some people and it's better to be honest about it because most millennials, older Gen Z who are independent are struggling. We can't pull ourselves up by our bootstraps because, well, are we even wearing boots to begin with?
My big takeaway here is that you need to pull the plug on these happy hours, as they don't sound super happy.
You aren't an example of why millennials are irresponsible. You're an example of how having rich parents helps you out in life. You are the asshole.
Not the asshole, and chances are a lot of the folk ragging on millennials are in fact millennials. Gen Y range for people born 1981 until 1996, so the oldest millennials are 39 this year. Also, having family members is almost never a pleasant experience. I'm sure there are exceptions that would make it pleasant for some, but that is irrelevant. These people are just jealous that their life isn't going as well as yours, that being in the generally accepted life plan for people, education, marriage, family, home and so on.
You are the asshole, but not internationally. I come from a similar situation. The best bet is be quiet about your finances. It will cause you more grief than do you good. I know this from experience, dude. Movie quote intended. Don't let anyone into your financial situation, because you will be labeled and not taken seriously at work.
Speaking as a boomer, boomers need to STFU. As a group, not necessarily individuals, of course, things were so much easier economically for us. Everyone sucks here. Stop talking about money at work. It's okay to change the subject, or ignore them if they're talking amongst themselves, or ask them not to talk about this around you.
Not the asshole. Shout out to you for breaking it down and telling them our reality.
My wife and I are a bit older than you, but when we bought our house in the Bay Area in 2015, it was only because a combination of money from my wife's father passing, and a large no-interest loan from my uncle that allowed us to put a down payment on our place. We know we got lucky. Most of my friends either have a similar story or can't afford a house. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole, but probably unwise all the same.
Not the asshole. Luck plays a huge part in success, but most don't want to admit it, because it makes them feel less special.
Not the asshole. I feel like age is such a weird thing to use against someone, almost like you're gatekeeping being a responsible, mature person.
Not the asshole, and honestly they should get a talking to from HR for ageism. Old people love to talk about ageism until it's their turn to shit on a younger generation.
People are losing concept of what a millennial technically is. I've seen people in the last year giving college advice to millennials. The youngest millennial now would be 26, and the oldest would be 39. Honestly, I think the term is being used so much people are basically just using it to refer to anyone younger than them they don't like. Also, it's insane to pigeonhole an entire generation that's scattered across a 15-year timeline and across a country that's 3,000 miles wide.
Not the asshole. Good for you. Might not have been the right forum, but yep. Hands clapping, hands clapping, hands clapping, hands clapping, hands clapping.
I think you're not the asshole, but I also think it's pretty rude to be dissing any generation during work time. They have no business knowing your financial situation, and you're under no obligation to share it. I would suggest that if they start that kind of gossip conversation again, you make a comment like, well, if there are no other work issues to discuss, I've got things to do, and sign off. They like blaming your generation for things. They're not going to stop.
Not the asshole. I'm a millennial who didn't grow up with a lot of money, and I appreciate you saying that. It's not that you haven't put hard work forth, but older people don't understand how different the economy is from when they were younger.
Thanks man, now I know how to make money.
Not the asshole. They're irritated because they got shut down. Good for you for standing up for yourself. As a 29-year-old who is only able to buy a house this year because her mom died in April, I feel you more than you know. It blows, but we roll along, and it's no one's freaking business about your life choices or how you got to where you are.